Welcome, everyone, to episode number 28 of We Are Family. As always, I'm joined here by Nathan Schivins and Pirate Peyton Celesti. And speaking of Pirate, this is a Pirates episode.
We love the Pirates.
We love the Pirates.
We're so in love. I just can't wait for this season.
And we have predictions. We're going to do a thing where we all individually make not only our opening day roster predictions, but what we want the Pirates opening day roster to look like. So we'll have kind of two separate rosters, if that makes sense. We also are talking a little bit of March Madness, if I'm not mistaken, and a little bit of MLB.
Yeah,
if we have time.
Yeah,
obviously.
We'll see. We'll
see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
By ear.
Yeah.
That's what we do. It. We just
that is how we do it.
This podcast.
All right. Without further ado, you guys get ready.
Go ahead, Jake Bell. Your start. All
right.
You were like, I gotta go first.
I do.
To say today.
I do have lots.
I'm
a big. The Pirates are my favorite team of all time. So. I appreciate that.
We love the Pirates. We want to reiterate that.
Of all time, my mic is going to be falling down the whole podcast. So
Pirates and Pitt football.
If that's a distraction for you, you might not be the episode for you.
Yeah. All right. So for my prediction of the opening day roster, I'm going to get the more obvious ones out of the way. Then I'm going to kind of go towards what may or may not happen. Obviously, Joey Bart's going to catch. I really think Nick Gonzalez has second base locked. I haven't heard anything that would tell me otherwise. Obviously, Key Hayes is at third, IKF at short. The outfield's going to consist of Tommy Pham, O'Neal Cruz, and Brian Reynolds with Kutch at the designated hitter spot. Adam Frazier is going to make the team as a backup. He signed a major league contract. It's just going to happen. And on the pitching side for guarantees, obviously Paul Skeens. That's a lock because he's the opening day starter.
What a surprise! There were funny memes about that. Yeah. He's been named the starter. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Mitch Keller obviously will be another person in the rotation. Bailey Falter and Andrew Heaney should be locks as well. I'm not going to include Jerry Jones because I think he is going to start.
That's a talking point.
It is a talking point.
Yep.
I'm going to assume that he's going to be on the IL. But as for
let's just hope he's not out the whole year.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah, you never know though. It's tough. But for the relief pitchers that I think will be locks are Bednar, Dennis Santana, Colin Holderman, Caleb Ferguson, Tim Meza, and I think that those we can assume will be made on the roster.
Repeat that again. Bednar,
Holderman, Santana, Ferguson, and Meza. I think are 100% locks.
Yeah, because they're under.
Because
major league contracts.
Yeah. And so I'll go to the ones that, may be iffy. You never know if they'll make it or not. At first base, I truly feel like DJ Stewart is going to start as a first baseman. Obviously, Horowitz is hurt.
Yay!
So I think with their Hall down especially, I think the job is to Stewart, and with Gorski getting sent down. I don't think they'll give the nod to Billy Cook. But if DJ Stewart does make the team and he does start at first base, they're going to have to DFA someone. And I have a feeling that they may DFA Jason DeLay if they haven't. They haven't already.
No. We need Jason. We need him.
We do, but I think they will. I think they will DFA him because they don't believe that anyone's going to pick him up, and he's just going to get reassigned to AAA.
That could pick him up that could use him as a backup.
But there's better players that went through and got sent down anyway. So as much as I like Jason DeLay, I think that's a possibility.
It would be a better opportunity for him as well, right. Like you said, Jake, because he's stuck as being the Indianapolis catcher.
I mean, he's the fourth catcher on the depth chart right now. So, but other than that, for the backups who I think will make it, I think Henry Davis is going to make it over Endy Rodriguez. As much as I love Henry Davis, I think it would make more sense for Endy Rodriguez to make it. But the Pirates are going to say, hey, Endy Rodriguez hasn't played since 2023, and he hasn't played very much. We want him to get acclimated back in the professional baseball during the regular season before we bring him up, and I think that they're going to roll with the number 1 overall pick in the draft. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention Triolo was a lock. I would be shocked if he's not a lock, especially winning Gold Glove, right?
Gold Glover, Gold Glover.
Doesn't matter. He had a 400 OP. That's an over exaggeration.
He had like a 580, 600.
I respect I like his glove. It's just
it can only go up.
Exactly.
It can only go up from here though. You can't go worse.
Yeah.
This is the Pittsburgh Pirates I'm talking about.
And another guy that I think will make the team over another is I think Josh Palacios is making it over Sawinski.
Wow.
I think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to DFA Palacios. he has improved a lot with his plate.
Does he have any minor league options?
No.
Oh,
they would have to DFA him.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that changed. So I didn't know that.
That's why I think they're going to roll with Palacios over Suwinski, because Suwinski does have options. As for the last starting pitcher, assuming Jones is going to start on the IL, because he's been stretched out more, I think they're going to give the nod to Carmen Mlodzinski over Caleb Ferguson as starting pitcher 5. I think, as much as I think Mlodzinski could be already is a fantastic reliever, I think they're going to give him the nod as a starting pitcher. I don't think they're going to roll with Chandler or Harrington because they don't have to have them on. They can option them. So I think that's going to be the case. And as for relief pitchers, the last relief pitchers, I think they're going to have Justin Lawrence on the team. I don't think they would have brought him in knowing that they can't option him down if they didn't plan on having him on the opening day roster. I think that's the same case with Peter Strzelecki. I think he's going to make the team as well, and I think Joey Wentz is going to make the team as a long reliever type role. So that kind of rounds out my 26-man roster.
What about you didn't say Kyle Nicholas?
Because I don't think he's going to make the team because he has options. As much as I want
to be on the, he's
assuming
your setup. He's your.
I agree. No, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. But with them getting Lawrence,
he's saying what he thinks.
I'm saying what I think. I don't think that.
I would be very disappointed.
I think that's going to be the case.
Can I say this?
I kind of agree with everything you said except that. I don't.
So, but that's the wild card one though. That's like the wild card. So
you're going to have 8 relievers, I would think.
Yeah.
They are, and those are the 8 relievers. I think it's going to be
Bednar, Holderman,
Santana, Ferguson,
Lawrence,
Meza, Strzelecki, and Wentz. Strzelecki, Wentz doesn't have options left.
I know, but he's got to go. He's not good.
That's what he thinks.
Yeah, this is what I think is going to happen. So I mean, what I want is completely different. Yeah, what I want is completely different from my prediction.
They're going to have to let somebody go because you can't have Kyle Nicholas is their guy. I feel like. I mean, he proved last year to be a great.
Nobody's disagreeing.
But maybe, yeah, I know. I mean, but they wouldn't have brought in Lawrence if they.
I'm saying Joey Wentz.
Yeah.
Lawrence, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nate.
So, well, mine's even bolder because...
Oh, wait, should we do predictions and then what we want after? Because I feel like that would make sense.
Yeah, well, I was going to do mine, but I was just going to say...
go for it. No, do your predictions. We'll do our predictions first. So, I'd rather that.
Now, I didn't really think this through, but there's that one spot where that somebody's going to be... There's all these guys, like we talked about, Lawrence, Wentz, Strzelecki, that signed, that they don't have any options left.
Yeah.
I think Mlodzinski starts in AAA this season.
That would be
I think it's a real possibility.
I think they stretch him out. I think they stretch him out in AAA Indianapolis like in April.
Might be right, yeah.
And because he's been, obviously we talk about that, and I think Caleb Ferguson, if the Jared Jones injury, I don't think they bring up a Bubba Chandler. I do think it would be Caleb Ferguson as that kind of, and I know I said LOL next to it as Caleb Ferguson being that potential starter if Jared Jones was out, but I did under the assumption that, like, just saying that like best case scenario with Jones. So I have Jones in here, if okay. But so mine, I'm just gonna say I agree with you, Jake, with what it will probably be. I had DJ Stewart as the first baseman. I think there's like momentum of that. I think that's where it's going. Unfortunately, we'll get to what we want, but I don't think DJ Stewart's what any of us would prefer at the first base to start, but. Gonzo at second, IKF at short, Hayes at third, Reynolds, Cruz, Pham, Kutch, Bart. I have Davis as well. I think they're going to roll with him over Endy as well. I think that's what it's been trending towards.
Yeah.
Frazier has to have a spot, so he's going to be there by default. And I didn't know that about Palacios. I had Suwinski, and I had Triolo obviously as well, but I had Suwinski, but now that you mentioned that, I don't know. It will be interesting to see if the Pirates, do they part with Palacios or do they actually just put him on the, and they could DFA him, but
has been hurt a lot, so I don't know if that goes against.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, his plate discipline has actually improved last year.
I think he's a better major league hitter than Jack. Like Jack Suwinski is more, but I think like if I need a good at bat out of someone. Do I trust Jack Suwinski or Joshua Palacios?
Low key,
I trust Palacios more.
Low key, Palacios is more of a spark, really. If I'm being real, like he's more energetic. Like I don't know.
He's a great. We love the clubhouse.
We love the clubhouse.
He's a great clubhouse.
Yeah, I like Palacios. I just don't. I don't know. There's a ceiling there, and it's a lot lower than what it would be for a Suwinski. And that's the Pirates need guys to get close to their ceiling.
The thing is, if Palacios gets DFA'd, he's gonna get picked up. I would think. You would think.
You'd think.
I don't. Actually, that's interesting. That would be an interesting
But that'd be like a perfect scenario for the Pirates. They just DFA him, and then they could just stash him in AAA still. But yeah, so I didn't know about Palacios out of options, but so either one of them, I think, whatever one they decide, I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
It could be Palacios in that regard, but in terms of pitchers, Skeens, Keller, Falter, Andrew Heaney, I have Ferguson, Bednar, Holderman, Nicholas, Santana, Tim Meza, Justin Lawrence, and Joey Wentz. I think that's what it's going to be. So I didn't say Peter Strzelecki, but I think either one of Strzelecki or Lawrence is going to be DFA'd before the start of the season.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of righties. I think the Wentz, they like the left, they like the balance, so they have Wentz here. I don't see them getting rid of him, although it wouldn't surprise me or anything. But I think one of those guys, Strzelecki or Lawrence or Wentz, is going to be let go because you got to fill roster spots.
Out of those three guys, I'd want to see Wentz. I already made this clear. I'm an anti. I'm nothing against the guy, but compared to the other two,
they brought in a decent amount of lefties anyway. So like,
like I was just looking at it. You got Meza, you got Ferguson. There's Barucki still, but I think he's gonna start in the minor leagues. I think that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah. I hate to see that because he's been so good. He has the new splitter. He's looked excellent.
Yeah.
I agree.
So but you look at their non-roster guys. If they all stay, or a lot of them, Yohan Ramirez, I like him as. They got some good depth as like if there's bullpen injuries, which always happen. Yohan Ramirez, Tanner Rainey, I thought was a solid pickup as like a depth guy if he had to fill in. He's had some okay seasons and he has that heater. Hunter Stratton's still there, so he could obviously.
I forgot about Stratton.
He's coming back from that injury. He'll be in AAA.
But it's a good depth. I mean, like just these are all AAA guys, but I'm saying like if people get hurt,
and that's what the Pirates need to do because their bullpen struggled last year.
Yeah,
there's nothing else you could really say. So them adding as much depth like we're mentioning, I mean it's good.
Carson Fulmer back again. Remember he had that really brief stint with the Pirates a couple of years. It was 2022.
He's good depth.
But
I
mean he was
there's talent there.
So, he is talent. He was a very high draft pick. So like,
but a lot of agreement with us for the most part on what we think is it. There's a couple that we just don't know.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Majinski. Like I was thinking about it, I was like, geez, there's a lot of good options, but not as many spots. Yeah. There's going to be guys left out like Barucki, and one of probably the Strzelecki, Lawrence, or Wentz or something like that. I agree, Peyton. I think Wentz. Like I know he was like a high prospect when he was coming up with Detroit, but he just didn't look inspiring.
Like he hasn't. You're transitioning him to a reliever. Like Detroit started that last year. He didn't do anything.
Yeah. He was better as a Pirate, but it wasn't like he was world beating.
It was small sample size, but so that's what we'll see what they do. But it's just kind of funny. There's just no world, unfortunately, where Bubba Chandler I think would be on the opening day roster
because they already sent him down. Like honestly, I was reading something. I think it's right. I think Harrington has more of a chance than Bubba Chandler because he's still up. I don't think he'll happen.
Yeah, but any of these, like, it would make sense I thought if you have him on your opening day roster and he wins Rookie of the Year, doesn't like the team get some? Did they get another year or like something?
So
wasn't it something?
Well, whenever Paul Skeens won Rookie of the Year, I think the Pirates lost a year of control.
Yeah,
because he wasn't on the opening day.
Yes, exactly. So I think you get rewarded.
Or you just I think there's some kind of reward, but they won't have him up until. I have no idea when they'd bring him up.
I think it depends. It depends. So.
We'll have to see how the season plays out. But what are your predictions, Peyton? Here, what do you think Buccos are going to do? Here?
I think that all right, let's just go over. I feel like the pitching is what's more complicated, and it's more complicated because there's more talent. I mean, that's just with we just don't have a lot here with the.
Yeah, no. Yes. I mean, you can count on 2 fingers the Pirates hitting success with guys individually that they brought up through their system.
So. At catcher, I would have Bart and Rodriguez.
Are these your predictions? Oh,
I'm doing both at the same. Just
gotcha.
You're
gonna confuse us. We're doing one, and we're just doing what we think.
I don't do I'm not doing the same order. I'm just doing it all at once. Okay. Bart and Rodriguez. Okay. I would have Rodriguez. He's the better prospect, the better hitter. But they're going to bring up, I agree with you guys, I think they're going to bring up Davis. He's the number 1 pick. He's destroyed AAA. We need Endy because he's the future at catcher. We need to have him every day in AAA. I don't agree with that because you could have Rodriguez playing first to really help this team win now. We've talked about that. But I think it's going to be Bart and Davis, but I would rather have Rodriguez. Utility guys, you have Adam Frazier and Gold Glover Jared Triolo.
Got to mention the Gold Glover.
He is a Gold Glover. Nick Gonzalez, second base. I would have Matt Gorski at first base. But guess what? He's not even being considered because he was sent down already.
Early, too.
Again,
that was like one of the early ones.
I mean, I don't know if this guy's ever going to get a chance at this point. I mean, you have no first baseman, and instead you're bringing up a AAA player and DJ Stewart. He's basically a quad A player. So I don't understand that. They view DJ Stewart as legitimate depth. They picked him up as a free agent, and they think he's, there's something there. I don't understand it, but that's what's going to happen. Outfield, Cruz, Pham, Reynolds. This is why we needed another addition to the outfield, like an Alex Verdugo, who just signed with the Atlanta Braves.
For nothing.
Yeah, for $1.5 million. Yeah.
$1.5 million.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it was his only offer too. I don't think a single other team offered him.
Yeah, there were no.
That's unbelievable.
There were no offers until that.
So it wasn't just like the Pirates overlooking him. It was 29 different teams, which is crazy.
Well, see this, and who's the team that did it? Atlanta. They're a great organization.
They did that with Profar. Profar was sitting there for a while, and then they're like,
I don't think he'll be Profar.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just saying, like,
he could be. I mean, he's had good years. Anyway. So that's why we're down to Jack Sawinski and Joshua Palacios. So, obviously, Sawinski, they need him to have a good year. They need him to come up and be productive. Palacios, it's like, okay, he's a good bench guy, but we don't have anywhere really to put him with Jack Sawinski. But the problem is Joshua Palacios doesn't have any options. Gosh, this is the one I just don't know.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to know what they want to do.
I'm just not a big Jack Sawinski guy. Like, I had Sawinski. The guy I wanted was Sawinski. But now that I'm thinking about it more, like, I'm not that big of a Sawinski fan. I don't want to see Palacios leave the organization unless he absolutely stinks. Like, I would keep Joshua Palacios. Like, if I need a good at-bat from someone, I was just saying this, if I need a good at-bat from someone, I trust Joshua Palacios to give me a good major league at-bat, more so than Jack Sawinski. I do.
His plate discipline greatly
no-brainer.
I have Jack Sawinski. Yeah. I think Jack Sawinski has more potential. I think they're going to have to bring him up at some point. I think they end up DFAing Palacios, but I would be, honestly, either way, I'd understand it. Like, I wouldn't be mad either way, to be honest with you, in that. It's just kind of like, whatever. So I'm going to move on from that. McCutchen, right, he's doing his thing. Then we have IKF at shortstop and Hayes at third base. So now this is where it gets tricky is with this. So now Jarrett Jones is hurt. We're going to talk about that, but I don't want to get into that right now. I would move Carmen Majinski. I would give him the chance. He wants to look. I like him as a high-end relief pitcher, but he wants to be a starting pitcher. This is his. They're stretching him out anyway. This is his opportunity to prove he can do it. Now, if he stakes, that would actually be good for the Pirates because then they could just move him back to the bullpen because I think that's where he fits on this team. But if he ends up being a really good starting pitcher, that would be great for the Pirates in the short term, but I don't know how long he'd be on the team because we have so many young starting pitchers coming up.
Michael King 2.0, hopefully.
Yeah, so
wow.
I would move Majinski to the rotation. But I agree with you, Nate. I think they're going to DFA him. I think they are not DFA. What the hell am I saying? I think they're going to send him down to AAA.
Yeah. It's very possible.
This whole situation is about who has options and who doesn't, right? And you don't want to DFA guys that you kind of have interest in. I do not want to see Caleb Ferguson in the rotation. Nobody wants to see that. But if Majinski has options, I think that could happen. Now, the bullpen. There's 9 guys like I want to see, but there can only be 8. David Bednar, Colin Holderman, Kyle Nicholas. He has earned the 6th, 7th.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
Justin Lawrence. We'll see. I think he has great potential. Dennis Santana was great last year. Then you have Ferguson and Meza. They're going to make the team. Whether Ferguson's a starter or not, we don't know, but he's going to be on the team. And Meza, because those guys were signed to major league contracts. Then you have. So I think those 7 guys are on the team, for sure. what it comes down to is Ryan Borucki, who has been excellent this spring. He has a new splitter. It's working great for him. If he could stay healthy, like I think he's a legit. I like him more right now than Tim Mesa and Caleb Ferguson. I do, but he has options, and he was signed to a minor league contract. Then you have Peter Strzelecki, who I also really, really like. If you look at his career numbers, not bad at all. He's a tall guy. I like him. I like his stuff. I don't want to see him DFA'd because I know someone's going to pick him up. So as much as I don't want to see this happen, like I want Ryan Borucki to be on the team, I would keep Peter Strzelecki as the 8th guy, and Ryan Borucki would be sent down. And Borucki will be up here as soon as possible once there's an injury or someone stinks. And then the rotation is Skeens, Baczynski, Keller, Falter, Heaney. So you see, I kind of was like what I want, what I don't want.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I didn't do it in the exact order you guys.
Nah, no worries.
Do you want to do your what you would?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. So I'll just go in order from positions instead of the locks, because this is what I want. So I did this assuming that this was the plan going into spring training. Like this would be my plan going into spring training. You know, some players I have at spots where you're like, oh, he wasn't there at spring training, but this is just what I would have done going into spring training. Then going through. So at catcher, I would have Endy Rodriguez. I think by far it's not even close. He's the best defensive catcher on this team. And if you look at the last time,
mentioned that is so true.
It's not even close. And I love Bart. I love Bart as a catcher, but I think Endy Rodriguez is by far the superior defensive catcher. And if you look at the playoff years for the Pirates, they won a lot of games because their catcher was not only good at plate calling, but he commanded the entire field. I mean, that's what I think this Pirates team needs. And I think Endy Rodriguez would fit well. He's a competitor. All he wants to do is win. I want him starting at catcher. At first base, obviously he would go to more of a DH role. I've said this 100 times on the podcast. I want to see Joey Bart at first. Yeah, I would rather see him focus on hitting. I think that would be great for him. I think he could have a very good offensive year at first base. At second base, I want to see Nick Gonzalez. Third base, Brian Hayes. Shortstop, IKF. And left field, I would like to see Tommy Pham and Palacios kind of platoon in a way. You have to see what you have in Palacios. I know it makes more sense for him to be a bench bat, but Tommy Pham's in his upper 30s. He's not going to be able to play every day, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe he's in the best shape of his life. I'm not sure. I would mix that up just to see not only see what Palacios has, but I think it gives you better room for the offense, in my opinion.
Imagine if we had Alex Verdugo, we wouldn't be having this
you could have Verdugo and Pham, really.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean?
$1.5 million.
Yeah. And I would have O'Neal Cruz at center, obviously, Brian Reynolds at right, and at DH, I would not only have Kutch DH, but I'd have Sawinski DH against righties as well, and here's why. Sawinski's power potential is one of the best on this team. You need him to bounce back. Have him focus only on hitting. Don't play. You don't need to play him in the field anymore. I mean, he has decent range, especially whenever he played center field.
His arm is just...
but he doesn't have a major league arm. That's the only issue.
May I interrupt? So you have Sawinski and Palacios on the team.
I would, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's how many position players do you have then?
So I'm gonna have 13.
Okay.
Of what I would want to see. And then the other two backers, I would still have Henry Davis on the team because I moved Bart to first base. Now Endy Rodriguez and Henry Davis are the catching duo. Yep. And then I'd have Triolo as well as number 13 on this team. And you're probably thinking, where's Adam Frazier? In this scenario, as much as I hate to tell someone that they have to be DFA'd.
I don't afraid.
I was just thinking who's,
Yeah, as much as I don't like saying, this person should be DFA'd, in this scenario, I would have.
He just wouldn't be in our perfect world. He wouldn't even be a thought to
sign. So you know what I mean. So that's what I would do.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
So so I think the major changes would be Bart at first, Palacios and Pham kind of platooning, and Kutch and Sawinski platooning at DH.
So I agree with basically everything you have, Jake. I really like that Sawinski and Kutch, because Kutch at this stage of his career as well.
Yeah, and he's still a very good hitter against lefties, Kutch. I mean, and if you have him platoon with Sawinski, who also can hit for an 800 OPS against righties, I mean, you could have a pretty good DH duo. Really, that would be if it works out.
That would be great. But so I did under the assumption of
I need my starting pitchers.
That's right.
Okay,
that's right.
No, you're good. Sorry, I didn't mean to
I jumped
interrupt.
the gun.
No,
I'm so
you're
excited
good.
to talk about Matt
No,
Gorski.
I know, honestly. But in the rotation, this is what I would want to see. Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller, Falter, and Heaney. I'm cool with that as your 4. Number 5, I'm actually having Thomas Harrington start out at the 5 spot until Jones is back, and here's why. Harrington's already 23. You don't really need to worry about years of control with him, in my opinion. He's going to be around 29, 30 whenever he's a free agent anyway. I don't know what the window of the Pirates are. As much as I want to see Bubba Chandler up, I think giving him more starts in AAA wouldn't be a bad thing. I think that's an option. And then Harrington, he pitched in relief roles for the Pirates in the spring. So whenever if Jones does come back, you can move him to a relief pitcher role. If he doesn't and you want to bring Bubba Chandler up, you can do the same thing. Then bearing injury from other guys like, maybe Falter also, maybe he declines in a way. You can move Harrington back up. I think that starting him on the opening day roster would be a similar thing to Jared Jones. I think it could work out pretty well. I think he has fiery stuff. I don't have a closer named as a closer. I would have...
That is another... Yeah. There is not... A closer has not been named.
Yeah. And I would give it to whoever the hot hand is. I would put guys like Dennis Santana, Holderman, and still keep Bednar in situations.
Has thrived in the closer role a couple times.
Remember a couple years ago when they didn't name Bednar the closer, but he was like the closer? This is like the same situation, except
Bednar's on the down.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and so I would have Santana, Holderman, and Bednar kind of battle out, whoever play the hot hand whenever a certain part of the season goes down. And then the other relief pitchers I would have on the team are Caleb Ferguson, Tim Meza, Peter Strzelecki, Kyle Nicholas, and I would have Majinski since they stretched him out. I think putting him in more of a long reliever role, but also have him in high leverage situations as well. That would make sense. And the guys I would DFA are Justin Lawrence and Joey Wentz. Am I missing anyone? No, I'm not. Yeah, those are the 2 guys I would DFA.
So would you DFA? Repeat that again.
Wentz and Justin Lawrence.
Yeah.
Wait, did you have Baraki? Did you have Baraki somewhere? Did you have him in there?
No, I as much as I like Baraki.
Who was the other? Can you go through your relievers again?
So I would have Majinski, Santana, Holderman, Ferguson, Meza, Bednar, Strzelecki, Nicholas.
Okay, Strzelecki. Okay, so that was I was thrown off because I got a 6-man rotation on mine.
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
because I put Bubba Chandler, but I agree. If there's an extra spot, I have Strzelecki out on mine, but he would be the first guy I would put back in because I this is like just what I didn't really, so I just did with the catching thing in the first base, I just assumed that Bart would be catcher, like just the Pirates overall thing, but just like what I would have. So, but I agree completely. I would move Bart to first.
Yeah, I think he would strive in that.
Yeah, but so you did going into spring training. I'm thinking of it as of right now. So that's why
you could go either way.
Yeah, you could. That's the fun thing about this. So I did. So we got the same: Gonzalez, IKF, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Brian Reynolds, Ono Cruz, Tommy Pham, Kutch, Bart. I have Endy on the opening day as well, and Henry Davis, and I have Sawinski and Triolo. But I have Matt Gorski as the opening day first baseman.
Yeah,
I'm just getting tired of. The Pirates have to look at these guys that have higher ceilings and could show some more stuff.
With power, we need
power. To let the young guys
instead
play.
of a DJ Stewart
you didn't
who
do much in free agency. Let the young guys play.
Yeah. So, but I agree. If it were going into spring training, I would have the exact same thing that you have, Jake, with Bart at first, Endy being the catcher, being the guy, and then Henry Davis sitting behind, maybe getting better defensively as a catcher.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out his hit tool, trying to figure that out. But so that's where I'm at with the hitters. And then my pitcher. So yeah, I did mine under the assumption Jared Jones is still a healthy. But if you take him out, then Strzelecki would be in. So which is what's probably gonna happen. So I had Skeens, Jones, Keller, Falter, Heaney. I had Bubba Chandler, but you made a great point about Harrington and the fact that Chandler. It wouldn't hurt to have him in AAA a little bit to start this. I just think man, he's shown Chandler's just shown some stuff, and I'm getting enamored by it. But I agree, Harrington also very highly touted.
And he goes under the radar because the Pirates have so many really.
A lot of them. Everybody goes under the radar except Chandler, but there's so many Solomito. He's had some rough spring outings, but
I think he's going to be a reliever on this team eventually.
That's
a hot. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I think that could be the case.
His motion is just it's so unique.
Yeah,
it reminds us of. of a very good MLB pitcher who pitched for a few World Series for the San Francisco Giants.
Oh, Mad Bum. Mad Bum.
You can get dreamy about it, but because it's such a unique, you don't see that's like the only comparable guy I could look at with that. But so my relievers.
Who are we talking about?
Solomito.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I didn't name like I just did like relief, just like I just had a relief.
Yeah, I didn't name a closer.
So I had
either,
Bednar, Holderman, Nicholas, Majinski, Santana, Ferguson, Meza. But then, like I said, if Jared Jones is out, then it would be Strzelecki in that spot.
Right.
I think Baraki would be like the next guy up, just
I
because
agree.
he signed a minor league deal, and so the Pirates they put themselves in a position where they signed too many guys in terms to major league deals and that are out of options. So we've just talked about this a little bit, but yeah, like I said, I like our depth in AAA on some of these non-roster invites with like Ramirez. If he just like sometimes he's just
Dude, he could be so
He could
dominant,
be really
so
good. Yeah,
he
wild.
he's just out of sorts
wild.
sometimes.
I mean, 2023 for a large part of the season, his ERA was under 2. Then he had some rough
I was
patches.
upset when they got rid of him.
People
was
can't
too,
hit him.
yeah.
He shoots himself in the foot.
Yeah.
But it's
Right.
crazy. He's bounced around so many places. But
Yeah.
and Tanner Rainey, I like that.
I do too. He's a big strikeout guy.
He has a good arm and
Yeah.
everything. And Stratton, we can't forget, he was pretty decent for the Pirates as well before. And don't forget about
Tanner
Ryder.
Rainey, I don't know much
Ryder
about.
Ryan.
I
Don't forget
forgot
about
we have-
Ryder
we do
Ryan.
have Ryder Ryan.
Baby, you're right this year. You're right.
He made the opening day roster
Interroad.
last year too because of injuries.
That
That's
was
right.
crazy. But
Yeah.
Dude, we have.
now you
the
guys
good
are higher
thing is
on him
we
than
do
I
have-
am, but
we do have depth. We do have a
Yeah.
lot of depth.
We do. I mean, there's a lot of relief pitchers that would
Only
make
our
opening day roster.
offense had that.
Now,
Wow.
Jake, I was going to ask you this because I don't really know too much. I've seen Hunter Barco a little bit, but what do you think about him? Like, he seems look like a pretty good option, but
I like Barco a lot. I do think eventually he will be traded.
okay.
Because of how many
some of these
pitching
guys
prospects
got to
there
be traded.
Yeah, I
Well, they
think.
had 5-6 months to do that, and they haven't
Yeah.
done it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think you could see that at the deadline. I think that would make sense. I like Barco. I think he could be very good. But there's a guy on the Rays that the Pirates passed up on, Chandler Simpson, I think his name is. I think he would be the leadoff guy on the future. Not only can he hit
saw
for very
him,
good contact, but he could
What
steal a bunch of
position?
bases. Outfield.
Was he? I've
Yeah.
seen it. Was that him that I've seen
Bart
on
Simpson.
opening day projections with the Razors? He's still a little
he-
far away.
I think
I'm trying to think if that was him.
he dominated like in the minors. He hit like 320, stole like 100 bases or something.
We'll
crazy.
talk about like
Here, I'll look it up. Actually.
we talk about MLB team like previews next week, but the Rays, their
Yeah.
rotation, if it's healthy, wow, that is a
Really?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the Rays, they always
It's just
find
there's
a
so
way,
many
it seems like.
injuries for
Yeah.
them. It's just gonna be tough. But you look at them; they got obviously McClanahan, and they got. I'll let you talk.
Oh no, you're good. I was gonna say
You
here's
got the
what
stats.
Chandler Simpson did last year in high single A and double A combined. In 110 games, he only hit 1 homer, but he hit 355. Only struck out 43 times in 504 plate appearances. He
Wow.
stole 104 bases.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So this guy, he would be the
One
leadoff guy.
homer, though? One homer.
If he's getting on base and stealing a bunch of bases, you might as well
we
have made some
I think you got to
doubles.
show a little more than that.
No,
with
he
the
could be a
homer.
leadoff.
He's hitting
We've seen with
355
yeah.
though.
That's true.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean, but
Like, imagine
All right,
him
let's
as your
just pump
leadoff
the
guy.
brakes.
Imagine him as your leadoff
Oh,
guy with
man.
O'Neal Cruz and Reynolds also out there in the outfield. I mean,
let's see when
you
he
could
goes
have
to AAA.
but you
then
could have
we'll
a very
get
good
excited.
defensive option too.
Is he a high-rated prospect?
He was in the futures game last year.
Okay.
He was a second round pick. in
Yeah, the Rays
2022.
have some good. They always have just really good diamonds in the rough
Yeah.
that they get, and really elite players.
I mean, having the range of O'Neal Cruz and Chandler Simpson out in the outfield, I mean, that could be.
I like that kind
you know
of
what I mean?
player, like Xavier
Yeah.
Edwards for the Marlins. Like I think he's like a really bright spot for them.
He
Their
is.
offense could be historically bad this year.
I would
actually, but-
extend him right now if I'm the Marlins. Make him your leadoff guy for a decade.
honestly. But I was looking at something. I can't remember if it was. It might have been the baseline was 20 home runs. The Marlins might. They don't have anybody projected hit at least 20 home runs, which would be like.
Jesus Sanchez has the best shot, right?
Yeah. They were talking about Norby
Jesus,
and
I saw
yeah.
something that he's the most.
Stowers.
I
Oh,
think,
yeah, they
was
got
it
them from the Orioles.
Fangraphs or something. Like if you put all the statistics, they did like some sort of like algorithm. Jesus Sanchez was the most average player. Like average. Like, he
Yeah,
wasn't
I mean, that makes
bad,
sense.
But it wasn't bad. He was
Yeah.
just average. I don't know.
I mean, like, in terms of OPS and everything, yeah. Like, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like, it barely around 700.
I do.
Like,
That makes a lot of sense because he does
Yeah.
he hits for power a little bit, but his average is very average.
He thought,
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
for him, like there was a lot of potential there, and he's been average. It's kind of like
I kind of want to see his OPS plus. If it was exactly 100, that would be crazy. 97, dang. 100 is the league average.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still crazy. Like.
So well, I go ahead, Nate. Go ahead.
No, so this is just, it'll be interesting. So just a couple notes. In terms of hitters, I didn't mention this. So none of us had Billy Cook or Nick York.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Which
Yeah, we didn't. Nick York, Billy Cook, he didn't do anything this spring. He didn't do anything.
I want them both to be on the MLB team, but there's just no room for them right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and nobody said G1 Bay.
I mean, I'd rather take a chance on one of these Billy Cooks or Nick Yorks over DJ Stewart.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I agree, but that's.
I think they view Cook as the utility guy.
I think I ignored Nick York because I'm so hype on Matt Gorski making the team. I just really like Matt Gorski more than those two, right? And I'm probably crazy for that because Nick York's a top 6 prospect.
Nick York is the only one of the 3 to be in the top 100 at some point in their career.
So,
was he the one? No, he wasn't the one. Who was that one Red Sox guy that they drafted high that was like nowhere near projected to be that high? It was a couple drafts ago. It was a hitter.
Oh.
Do you remember that? You know what I'm talking about?
Which year? Was it 2023?
Yeah, I think it was. It wasn't. I was thinking about who it was. I was like,
if
no,
there
it
was
wasn't
a
York,
way they could get Nick York on the roster.
It was a hitter. It was a hitter. I can't remember.
I will
who it
say
was.
this. I'll add to my if what I want. With Matt Gorski, with the reality that Matt Gorski isn't getting a chance, I would be happy if they somehow found a way to get, even if it was the expensive one of the bullpen guys, to see Nick York on the roster with DJ Stewart. Because Nick York could play the outfield as well.
I don't know if it was him. I don't think it was Kyle. I gotta think who it was. The name's slipping my mind. I'm seeing this guy.
Sox, yeah, I don't know. Red Sox.
What are we talking about?
Here, I'm gonna.
What are you talking about?
I gotta find this guy.
There's someone on the Red Sox that he remembers.
So random.
That was a highly drafted guy, but was not projected to go that high.
What year?
That's what I was trying.
I thought it was 2023, but it might have been 2020.
Because Teal was like the 15th pick or 14th pick.
Why is this? What are we?
I was confusing Nick York for that guy, whoever it was.
Hey, who would that be? They got in 2022. Who they draft?
Well, just look up their top 30 prospects. I'm sure you'll find it.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at I don't even know if he would. That's true, but
Red Sox. And I mean, 2022 it wouldn't be it because they made the playoffs. That wouldn't be it. 2021 they got Marcelo Meyer, who could have went number 1.
Oh yeah, I wanted the Pirates to get him.
I low-key
it wasn't
did
2020.
Too,
no, what? Who? Maybe it was
we're doing our
last
research.
Do your own
20. What was the 2020 draft? I don't think they drafted high. No, they didn't make the playoffs, but there was no lottery, so they weren't like picking top 10. I don't think.
And it wasn't this year or this past year. I don't know what I swear I don't know. I don't know. I'm cooked. Who do they take this year? Oh, Brady Montgomery. That's right.
Yeah.
I want the Pirates to take him.
Yeah,
too.
I think we all did. But honestly, Connor Griffin is
Connor
looking
Griffin.
fantastic. Yeah.
I'm not. But
he's looking good.
My first reaction to the Connor Griffin one was like, but I did want to
I was mad at that pick, but he looked.
I did
really
want to.
good.
But I'm glad that he can move to center field.
I
was nervous, like
more
shortstop,
like MLB ready bat. I think that's what we wanted someone who could kind of get up to the majors quicker.
Yeah.
But Nick Kurtz, I wanted Nick Kurtz maybe.
Yeah.
But he's raking with the A's now.
Yeah, he went high in the draft.
Dude, the A's are going to be good. They had some great draft picks.
They got Tommy White
Tommy
too, right?
White.
Yeah.
Remember, I
liked Tommy White.
I wanted to take Tommy White in the first round. I was like, I think that's a steal.
I thought that was a possibility.
We still could have taken him in the second round. We didn't.
Yeah.
And the A's
took a high
him 4
schooler.
picks later.
Yeah.
We still did shortstops and starting pitchers. And they also have Jacob Wilson, son of Jack Wilson, who's looking really, really good.
Yeah.
He has like 5 or 6 homers this spring.
Yeah,
the A's are cooking, bro. They're
Jacob. Like I was unsure about Wilson. Like didn't show much power, small school, but he looks fantastic. Like he could be a leadoff guy for them. Like to be honest, because he can get on base 45% of the time, really. So
the Vegas A's. That's gonna be like. I feel bad for Oakland. But that's gonna be fire. I feel like that's gonna be like
they're gonna
Vegas, like the
casinos
A's. Like
in the
I like
stadium.
it. Like,
I don't know. I don't know about.
That you're just sensitive about Oakland, and I understand that.
No, but I just like Vegas is very. I just don't know if it's gonna be like. There's a lot of teams going to Vegas now, and it's not that big a city.
The Raiders suck, right?
Yeah, but that's
the A's,
like.
I think are gonna be. Well, the Raiders could be good soon, but
I think the Athletics are going to.
There's a lot of teams. The NBA might get a lot. I think it's too many teams for that. I just don't think they could support that. But it will be a smaller stadium. It's going to be like the smallest stadium in baseball, other than Tropicana, which is not going to exist anymore.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
They said it's going to be like 32,000 or something.
Wow.
So, there you go. Sellouts. A lot of sellouts.
Yeah.
No,
bragging
it
rights.
still wouldn't be sellouts.
He's gonna be collecting the money.
No, what a joke that guy is.
You're fired.
I was never hired by the A's. I would not work for that organization anyway. Unfortunately, even though I like the A's.
We love the A's.
I am a big A's fan actually.
Moneyball.
So I'll just say this, you guys, I was impressed with how you broke things down to what you want.
Thank you.
I just wrote down like kind of what I want, and what I think's gonna happen, but within the confines of how the Pirates think. I just didn't think beyond that because I'm just so tired of thinking beyond that, to be quite honest with you. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah.
Like guys like Bubba Chan, like obviously we want Bubba, but like I know that's never gonna happen. So why would I even waste my time? But I appreciate what you guys did though.
Thank you.
I do.
Thank you.
I appreciate it so greatly, so strongly. Yeah. So are we done with the Pirates? Well, let's I want to talk about Jared Jones and this whole injury. So here's all I'm gonna say. The Pirates didn't do a lot in this offseason. And everyone kept saying their starting pitching is going to be so great. So great. They have so much great pitching. They have so much. That came out wrong. They have so much great pitching. And now you already have one guy injured. When you have guys that are throwing as hard as these guys do, Jones, Skeens, Chandler, right? I mean, they do have the depth. They have guys like Pajitsky who could move over, Ferguson. But stuff could happen like that. And if it's just a warning sign, like let's just assume Jones is out for the year. Like your rotation is still okay. It's certainly not as good, but your rotation is still good. But if someone else goes out, if Skeens goes out, if Keller goes out, there's your season.
I don't even want to think about it.
I know.
What are you even entertaining?
But this is my point is this is why you had to improve the offense. Because you can't just assume, well, we're going to win more close games with our starting pitching because our bullpen is going to improve. You can't just assume that. It was too much of an assumption off season, and injuries happen. And last year we didn't have a lot of injuries, but like this stuff happens, and it happens at a higher rate than ever before with starting pitchers. And I know people are because Skeens, he's big, but like. This guy is still throwing 100. Like they need to be very careful now. They have to treat these guys. And I don't want to hear people complaining about how, they took a guy out too early. Because as far as the Pirates are concerned, they have to treat every starting pitcher like a piece of metal at this point. A piece of glass. Why did I say metal? A piece of glass.
I never heard that one. It's a new one.
I was thinking glass, but I said metal. So I'm just throwing that out there. Like, yeah, you got it. This starting pitching thing.
Yeah.
It could go down to shit fast.
Well, I think with Skeens you could do that, but Keller, I would be kind of surprised if he had
Keller's a little
injury.
different.
He's been pretty durable.
Yeah.
And I think Heaney and Falter, you just do what you pitch them. But
Bubba Chandler too, AAA. Like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they will be. And Jared Jones wasn't like he was pitching crazy in spring training so far either. It was just I don't even know how it came up.
Yeah.
Was he throwing like a side session or something?
I think he needs to gain a little bit of weight, honestly. Like so that he's more durable. I mean, he throws so hard, but he's so skinny.
I'm really this analytics era. Like I like it overall. I think it's bringing more to the game.
Yeah.
But it's the reason why pitchers are the spin rate and everything. It's the reason everybody knows it's the reason why but no one wants to say it out loud. No one wants to say it. It's the reason why pitchers are getting hurt as much as they are now.
Yeah.
And the velocity, just wanting to throw hard. There is a lost art of pitching that we are losing right now due to just throwing as fast as you can with all these.
Yeah.
You don't see too many guys anymore coming up through the minors that throw 90 293.
I miss 2013 baseball.
Yeah.
That's whenever there was a lot of
That's
that.
what I'm
And a lot of
saying.
guys throwing 200 innings. Like,
And all the guys that do are 33, 34, and they're a dying breed, it feels like. And it's just kind of unfortunate.
I mean, 200 innings, most likely if you reach that, you lead the league in innings pitched.
Yeah, there's
Or at least the National or American League.
There's not many guys who will be.
Yeah, like Framber Valdez is like the only one, really.
Framber
That can do it
Valdez,
consistently.
he's a free agent after this season.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the closer situation. I am
Do we
all
have to?
for, real quick, I am all for, it's not, I mean, Bednar hasn't really done anything to show he's that much different than last
He had a
year.
scoreless inning a couple days ago.
Hang the banner.
Hang the banner.
I mean, I watched him pitch one inning. He had a clean inning, but it was just the same stuff. It was just like throwing the ball down the middle.
He had misses. He was missing with his fastball up in the zone again.
It's just I don't see many adjustments, and I'm disappointed by that. So I am all for a closer by committee situation.
I
That's
think
what
a
I
lot
want
of
them to
teams
do.
should do that overall. I'm getting kind of tired of this. Like, you have one specific closer,
Yeah.
and you just like ride with them. Like, it depends on the situation.
Let's
a lot,
ride.
too.
But I looked at Majinski as a possible closer, but then with what I want to do, I don't have a long reliever. Like, no one can pitch multiple innings unless you want to say Caleb Ferguson.
Oh, yeah, somebody we're
can.
forgetting
So, like-
about that's going to come back at some point as well.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
forgetting about
Dowry
him.
Moreta.
Yeah, that's a-
Wow.
Yeah.
I
That's
think-
another guy like we're gonna miss.
I think he could be.
Yeah.
like
Imagine.
we're gonna miss him, but we have so much depth. Like I'm not.
Well, he's not-
but the big thing with missing Murray, he was supposed to be a high innings guy, and if Bednar stinks and Holderman has his moments, like that's a guy you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
Well, when is he supposed to? Do you guys know when he's on the 60 day?
Yeah, him and Oviedo.
I don't know what the
assume.
situation is
Oviedo's
there.
another guy we forgot, but like those two, I don't know.
He's like the forgotten. Oviedo's like this the forgotten guy all the time.
because we've had so much pitching and pitching prospects have all improved while he's been hurt.
But imagine like in a pennant race or something,
Yeah.
Dowry Moreta closing out a game and doing his
Oh,
big
my.
bet, the big bet.
MLB
Doing a
would be posting
celebration
that
or
all.
something.
I would be all for that. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we have to get a song for him. He has to
Yeah.
get his walk in. entrance.
I could just imagine like,
It would be the
hype,
money,
like,
money, money
Latino song or something. That song. Anyway,
But yeah, okay,
but, like,
closer.
who do we see like
Yeah.
filling in that role? I mean, obviously Holderman, I think, can do it. I think Dennis Santana, he showed
Yeah.
he could do it last year. I mean, he's been a
Dennis
big
Santana,
surprise.
that was crazy. That's a W for the Pirates in their development.
Yeah, I
'cause
agree,
everywhere
I
he's
agree.
been not
Yeah.
performing to his potential.
I was hearing Justin Lawrence, but let's pump the brakes.
No,
Like,
yeah,
he's
you
gotta
can't
prove
give him that
himself
role. Yeah,
first.
exactly.
I don't
Okay.
even have him on the roster.
Yeah.
Let's pump the brakes. So, but yeah, after I would say those two guys and Nicholas. Although I want to see him as
I think he
doing
could
this-
be the closer of the future. He throws
could be.
102.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I don't know if they want to put that pressure on him because it took him a while to get it going last year. But he
I like him
he
as that-
grew a lot. I would say if you have to give an award for growth last year, it would go to Kyle Nicholas.
Oh yeah. He was the biggest piece of the Stallings trade too.
We remember that game where he came in for Skeens, his first start. And
Yeah.
just blew up.
That's
that
where
game.
everyone remembers there, and that's how you.
But
make
since
your,
that,
your
after
opinion
that
on it.
point,
It'd
he
be
was
great.
excellent.
Like imagine Bednar's just not the closer anymore. Like
Here,
it
actually-
could happen.
I kind of want to see Kyle Nicholas'
I
stats
really am
outside
rooting
of
for
that game.
David Bednar, but it you know,
Yeah.
It's just it's getting tiresome here. You know,
it's
with-
running its course.
it's- it may be. I really want to see him get back
But his
to
weight and it's always like that's always been a concern. I
Zion. He's
think.
like Zion. No, but yeah. Another interesting thing. Who is the guy that we think in a jam comes into like a starting pitcher? He gets in a jam. Who do you think could like go in mid inning? Who would be that guy? I guess it depends on matchup, but would that be like a? Well, I don't even know what Ferguson would be doing, but
I think depending on
A
how
left-
good he
usually the
comes-
lefties come in. But Ryan
Oh,
Barucki
yeah.
would be like a perfect. Like remember Ryan Barucki,
Yeah.
and he always was the guy who came in a jam and like would get him out and stuff. But if Ryan Barucki, it was so like when he was healthy, he was excellent for the Pirates. Like last year, he was just not healthy.
Well, honestly, it could be Tim Meza.
Could be.
Yeah, I think that because he doesn't really have a role as a reliever other than being a middle reliever.
Right.
So like,
It'll be interesting, and I honestly don't know what to expect from a Strzelecki. I really don't. Peyton, you guys are like higher on. I just don't.
I mean,
I
if
like
you
it.
look at his career numbers, and
Yeah,
I've
I've
seen like
seen-
some of the movement on
Yeah.
his pitches. I like he has a kind of a funky delivery. Like I
Okay.
like him a lot.
and I trust the Guardians developing with pitchers to where I think he'd be pretty good with us.
Yeah. And he
to
was
be
a
honest.
Brewer too.
Yeah.
Was he no, was he with Cleveland last year?
Yeah, he only
I
pitched
think
like
the
maybe
most
10
he
games.
pitched was with the Brewers.
Yeah, I think he only pitched 10 games.
Yeah.
Was he a Met?
No, just a Brewer.
Why do I think he was a
The
Met?
Mets have a bunch of pitchers with
He sounds like a guy.
weird last names.
Yeah, he sounds like a Met. I always thought he was a Met for some reason.
We love the Mets. No, we don't.
Do
How do I spell his
Really?
name right on the spot?
Wow.
I don't
Yeah.
love the Mets.
He was a Brewer. He pitched for the Diamondbacks for 1 game, 1 1/3 inning.
I
And then he
remember it
pitched with them
vividly.
last year. Yeah, yes. But yeah, I mean, he
Yeah.
hasn't really been bad anywhere. Like Milwaukee had some bumps in 2023, but like
2022, he had 30 games with Milwaukee. He was 2-1 with a 2.83 ERA.
yeah,
Hmm.
in 77
in
career games, 3.44
2023
ERA.
What did Cleveland? Did they DFA him?
2023 he had a
that
4.54
concerns me
ERA
a
with
bit, but-
Milwaukee, but he had a 1.18 WHIP. So the
Yeah.
ERA, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says purchased by the Pirates, but that's because they purchased him via the DFA. They brought him in before,
Yeah.
and he could get sent down.
Okay. Yeah, because I've heard of him, but I always I don't know why I thought he was a Met. The Mets have all these, like you said, Jake. These guys are like the interesting last names.
Yeah.
So I thought he was a Met or something.
Yep.
But
Well, I want to change the subject briefly because I just got a very disturbing message. Bro, we're gonna be on alert, like
what?
on self-harm alert here. James Pierre is back on a 1-year deal.
Oh, you made me so.
I was
nervous.
getting worried. Yeah, you're just yeah. I don't really care. Like I just as long as he doesn't play that much.
Dude,
I
he's
don't-
gonna play Tom and almost play. He's not good. This is I'm cooked right now. This is,
I thought it was like Jared Jones or something. Like they announced or something. I thought it was something like that actually is meaningful.
this is meaningful. I'm so tired of James
not
Pierre.
meaningful.
I don't want to see him on this team
It's
anymore.
only meaningful
Every
to
year
you.
he gets cooked in
You
an
can't
important
say-
game.
You can't say like what did you say? We're about to crash out. Or what did you say?
Bro, I am crashing out.
I know, but nobody
I said
else.
I was about to say.
Self-harm.
I was about to say. I didn't want to say like.
Yeah.
You know?
Imagine,
Yeah, I get what you mean,
Imagine
yeah.
self-harming yourself over
Oh,
James
my.
Pierre. That's you gotta calm down over there.
You know what? You don't understand, James
I
Pierre.
understand.
He's ruined my mental health. This man.
I
He's
remember,
so
like,
bad.
I watched a video saying, like, oh, James Pierre is going to be the next lockdown corner for the Steelers.
Oh
and
my
it was like,
God.
it only showed, like, one play
He's
he made,
not
I
a
think.
corner. He's he should be a safety if he's not
Yeah.
even a good like. He's too small to be a corner. Like, oh my gosh. Oh my.
Hey, you got to love the FAU Owls, though. That's where he went to college.
Oh, Florida Atlantic.
Florida
They have a
Atlantic.
nice.
Worst thing
They made the
ever
Final
come out
Four
of
2 years
FAU.
ago.
The worst thing ever.
They made it to the Final Four 2 years ago, but they lost in the heartbreaker to San Diego State.
Dude, that team, they had a lot of. All their players are like Florida, Michigan, Arkansas. Like they are, and they're doing well.
Yeah.
What else do we want to talk? Do you want to talk March Madness a little bit? Just.
Sure. Let's
Do you
talk
want to talk about North Carolina?
Let's
You
talk
wanna-
about North Carolina.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That was I'm sorry, but they need to change this whole committee thing. Like every year, they screw it up massively, and this was the worst year by far.
Massively.
By far,
Yeah.
it was the worst. I mean, that might be the biggest snub I've ever seen. West Virginia, 111 out of 111 bracketologists had them in as a lock. West Virginia, you have to understand. Like people are like, well, West Virginia should have won more. No, I understand. Okay, whatever. West Virginia was they weren't a bubble team. They weren't even considered a bubble
They
team.
both had 13 losses, I think.
111 out of 111 bracketologists had them as a lock in the
Yeah.
tournament.
Yeah.
6 quad 1 wins. Okay? And North Carolina, I don't have a problem with North Carolina getting in. My problem is at the expense of West Virginia. It should have been at the expense of another bubble team, not West Virginia. And JVR bracketology, that's the guy. I don't know if it could be a female. I have no idea who.
I think it could
We
be,
don't
but
know
I
who
think it's. I'm pretty
I don't
sure
know
it's
what JVR even stands for. But he said that out of the years he's been doing it, that was the first lock. Because he always has like 40 teams that are locks. But that's the first lock that's never made it for him. That's never.
Lenardi
so
had
that
them-
is one of the biggest snubs I've ever seen.
And it's like a poor man's version of the Florida State situation where they didn't make the playoffs because an impact.
Clearly a
You know what I mean?
conflict of
Yeah.
interest here.
Yeah.
The ACC, but it keeps happening with the ACC because 1 year. So obviously the North Carolina. It's just the athletic director shouldn't be doing this. It should be the bracketologists. It
Yeah, they
should
were
be the
mentioning
guys
that.
who follow this year round
Mm-hmm.
and are experts, and they have no bias. Like you're obviously whether you're not you try to have bias or not. There's bias. Like I'm not saying that North Carolina guy made the decision, but if he's the head of the committee, he has buddies, right, who are making these. Well, we're gonna let our buddy team get in. Buddy. Like that's all this was, bro. That's all this was a buddy situation.
Have you seen? It's like the meme where like they're
Shout
like
out Matt Pileggi.
they're like in the meeting room and they're like deliberating, and then he's just like it's like a glass thing, and he's just like peering in, like staring at them.
The North Carolina
No,
guy.
that was like a meme. That wasn't like that's like what it would be. Yeah,
so
it's
clearly,
still it weighs on them. Like they're in that room, and he's like they know he's like the higher up too, so they know.
And so since I follow the ACC, and I don't know how it is with other conferences because I don't follow it as much, but like the last 3 years, there's been big screw ups. Let's go back to 2023 or whatever that year that was.
Yeah,
I forget which team it was, but I remember NC State. It was between NC State and Clemson, I think.
Hey, Clemson didn't get in.
Oh yeah.
Was it Clemson didn't get in or NC State that didn't?
Clemson didn't get in.
Yeah,
Okay.
It was whenever Pitt made it that Clemson didn't make it. And I was shocked.
Yeah,
But
everybody had them
Clemson
in.
had beat NC State 3 times in the regular season
Oh,
and
wow, I
the
didn't
tournament. 3 times. And both were bubble teams. And somehow NC State got in over Clemson.
Yeah.
That was the first big one. Then last year, Virginia getting in. I'm not mad that Pitt didn't get in.
But somebody else should have been in
It should
over
have been
them.
St. John's, one of these.
And also,
Seton
Pitt
Hall.
swept NC State, who won the ACC tournament that year, too.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true.
That's a huge
swept
thing that
the
they
A-
should have
Virginia,
had.
and then Virginia ended up being a disgrace.
And Pitt beat
Yeah.
Virginia on
And
the
at least
road.
Yeah,
this year,
yeah.
North Carolina looks like a team that can win games. I mean, they destroyed San Diego State. But then this year, North Carolina getting in was ridiculous, number one. And then you have Louisville as an 8 seed and Clemson as a 5 seed. It's just like, I just don't.
Louisville was the only.
There seems to be no consistency. It's just, I don't get it.
Louisville is like the only team like ever. I don't know if it ever, but like one of the only teams where they were top 10 in the rankings, and they were the 8th seed or something like that.
Yeah, it's like
I don't know,
crazy.
like
They
net
got
rankings. I don't know
smoked
something
today, so
Yeah.
maybe maybe
they've
that's
been-
something we maybe the committee had that one right, but it's just like
They were like
okay.
15th or 14th in the AP poll, which usually like all of them, you can. That's kind of like a bar
and
for
Louisville
them.
Yeah.
beat Clemson twice, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
but that's not as much of an issue as the bubble team situation. It just feels like it's just there's always like a massive mess up every year.
And another massive screw up. Why was Robert Morris not a 14 seed? They
I
were
know.
a 15 seed. They were not a 14
They're gonna
seed.
get their doors blown
I know. I
off
feel
tonight.
Now they're gonna.
bad.
Can
I
you
feel
believe
That's
it?
a terrible matchup.
Can you believe
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
I mean, if they're like just playing an SEC team like that in this year, like that's just so tough. I feel so bad.
But yeah, congrats to RMU for making it. That's
Yeah.
a big accomplishment for them.
Absolutely.
You make good money for making the
Yeah.
tournament and playing it and winning. If you win the games, you get some. That really helps these conferences. I saw Alabama State won against St. Francis. They're gonna get a lot of money for that in their conference.
That ending was crazy. Like
Yeah.
the guy threw the ball up.
It was just all
and
over the place.
They were all just colliding into each other, and the ball randomly went into the guy's hands and
Yeah.
he played
Yeah.
it in.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate ending, and they turned it over. St. Francis turned it over on the previous possession.
St. Francis would have made March Madness as a 17-17 non-major team.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, they
Yeah.
technically did, but
I guess
yeah.
their
That's true. They
their
did.
conference is
and
not that
by the
strong
way,
this year.
we're talking about this. I agree completely with you, Peyton, about North Carolina. You got to beat good teams. That's just that should be a
1-12
prerequisite.
1-12 against Quad, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
What is there? And their
But
win
my,
was
my
like
problem is I mean, if they got in over like another bubble team, it's like that kind of sucks. But it's like okay, over West Virginia is insane.
And the win for UNC, the quad one win, was on a neutral site against UCLA, and UCLA like collapsed in that game. And UCLA's not even like they were 7 seed, but their net ranking was a lot, so it wasn't even like a big time. West Virginia, and I'm not a defender of West Virginia or anything. They've had a rough week this week because their coach got. If we could talk about that, but he was literally tampered with.
Yeah.
When they were in the Bahamas, that's what they're saying.
Wow.
Because Indiana was also in the Bahamas tournament.
What in like November?
Yeah, in
That's
like late
insane.
November.
Yeah.
Wow.
He like
I mean, he just started. This
Yeah.
is his only year at West Virginia.
Yeah. Well, he has such a great track record. Though.
And his son, they're saying they were showing this is getting conspiracy, but he stopped playing like a little bit after that Atlantis thing, and they showed him with his shoulder injury. and they were saying like shoulder surgery, and they showed a video of him like on the sidelines, like going like waving his like arm like crazy and stuff, and they're like that you can't heal that quickly and everything with.
Are
the
they
shoulder.
saying that he preserved a red shirt and is going to Indiana? Really?
No
way.
That's what West. I've been following West Virginia Twitter.
Well, that's an indictment on that coach. Then I mean that's insane.
They're very upset, but like
wow,
it's been a rough week for West Virginia, and I'm not gonna shed a tear or nothing for them. But
wow, we're gonna clip that because that's a
you
crazy
guys hate,
thing.
Like I'm a Pitt fan I have a little bit of a connection with West Virginia. Like I don't hate.
I know
West
people
Virginia.
that go there too and stuff, but
like I'm a Penn State hater more than I. So like I feel bad for West Virginia, and I really do.
Yeah. It is a little funny, but it's also like they got hosed in the like everybody had them like last four buys even like safely in the field.
Yeah.
And for UNC, we all watched this year. They're not impressive.
Yeah.
They
looked impressive. I think they're gonna make a little run here. I think they're gonna because I think the fact that people like that's a motivator, dude. Like that's
where was that all year though? That you should have been motivated. Your bid to the NCAA tournament was on the line all season, and you played like crap.
I think their coach isn't all that great. I think that I do think that when they get going in transition, they're tough to beat. Like that's what happened against San Diego State.
If there's a team with no inside presence, they can do well.
Excellent scorer.
They're not good defensively. Like if there's a good offensive team, they'll. Yeah. I just think I hope Ole Miss better win that game. I swear.
Yeah.
But
I have North Carolina go to the Sweet 16.
You got a lot of teams going to the Sweet 16.
Well, my bracket will be busted real quick, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, mine was already. We're recording Thursday afternoon. Louisville just lost, so
and I lost that in the Sweet 16.
That's
It was funny. My sister was like, because I sent her a bracket for her to like my most confident bracket because she's filling one out for college.
Yeah,
and she was like, our picks are doing real well. I was like, don't sleep on Creighton. Because I have them being Auburn, so we'll see how that goes. I don't think that'll happen, but I mean, you never know. Like, they're on the rough stretch.
Speaking of St. Francis at Alabama, Alabama State is currently hanging with Auburn.
That game like just started.
No, it's late first quarter. They're only down 4.
Wow.
5:24, but it's like
what's the score?
28-24.
I mean, Auburn's been looking rough. Auburn's been looking rough.
We got a live stream. We gotta like put it on at the end of the podcast.
On sideline, I have them winning it all because I like picking different winners. I don't like picking the same winner every
Auburn.
time. Yeah.
Everybody has Florida. Have you seen this?
There's a lot of Florida on the one that I set.
I'm gonna pump the brakes on Florida because I really like them too, but I don't know.
Just them being 30.
Everybody has them.
Insane. Yeah, I mean, I know they had some close wins, but. I mean, in the SEC, you go 30-4, win the conference tournament.
I think.
Yeah.
But Houston's pretty hot. I mean, not too many have said Houston.
We both have Houston. So who do we have in who's our Final Four? Let's end with this.
On sideline or like our most confident bracket?
Good. I only made one bracket.
I know in my head who I have, but I want to like make sure I say it right.
Okay.
Here we go. Final Four. My Final Four. I mean, this is an interesting Final Four, but I have Michigan against Florida, and I have Alabama against Clemson. I know those might be hot takes, but I feel like anything could happen.
Michigan, Florida.
I have Michigan and Clemson as
losing in the first.
Yeah, I know. I mean, so you never. I mean, it's crazy. I have Florida beating Clemson in the national championship.
Wow.
And,
you remember Florida?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dude, we should have beat Clemson. I was at that
I know.
game.
I was watching that game. Yeah.
You guys were. Yeah, you got that. What was the sign?
The Blake Hinson.
Yeah. The Blake Hinson one.
Yes. Yeah, I know those might be hot takes, but like Michigan's always a basketball school. Clemson, I think, is so underrated all the time.
I went kind of chalk, but not really. So I had Houston, Duke, Michigan State, and Maryland. I'm really high on Maryland because they have veteran guard play.
They have probably a top 5 pick in the draft. Probably.
Yeah, they have Derek Queen.
Top 7, definitely.
They have their best player is a freshman, Derek Queen, but they have like 5 guys in double figures.
Yeah.
Here's what's gonna happen with Maryland because I don't know much about them, but I know they've had so many like heartbreaking losses. So they're either gonna be cooked or they're gonna like their luck is gonna start to happen.
Yeah.
So
I think I don't know what their draw is, but they play Grand Canyon, don't they? That's the
Grand
matchup.
Canyon's, dude. They have all the same players from last year.
I know. Grand Canyon's always they're a really good program.
I love teams like that where like their name, like the school name is just something completely random, but they're like really good at basketball.
Grand Canyon's one of those. I was looking at a thing. It was like highest enrollment, and they have like 100,000 because they're
Grand Canyon?
yeah,
Oh.
because they have I always see their commercials.
The Grand Canyon is huge. They have a lot of
Yeah.
people.
They're not actually in the. They're not. They're not actually in the Grand Canyon.
Grand
me look
Canyon.
that
They're
up.
in Arizona.
Let me
We
look this
love the Grand Canyon.
And UC San Diego had like a ton of people too. It was like crazy. It was like crazy.
That's insane.
Where is this freaking thing at? But yeah. So I have, and Michigan State have been. I really like Michigan State. If they can shoot the three a little better, I think they can do well because they have a really balanced attack.
Yeah.
And they got good guards. They got Jason Richardson's son, Jace Richardson.
Oh wow, Jason Richardson. That's a name I haven't heard in a
Yeah.
long time. Good NBA
Let me
player.
find that.
Michigan State. But I remember. Was that you that said?
Here
Or no,
it
I
is.
heard like Izzo switches. I have Michigan State. I'll say my Final Four. I have
Yeah.
Michigan State, Texas Tech. I have Texas Tech
Texas
because
Tech.
That's a good. I like that.
J-Max likes Texas.
Yeah,
Tech.
yeah,
I'm
I
going
see
with
that. Yeah,
J-Max.
yeah, I seen that.
And then I have Duke and Houston.
That's a reason to pick against them.
Yeah.
And then I have Houston and Michigan
Oh, we got
State
like the same. That's crazy.
in the final.
Yeah,
Michigan State. Izzo needs to let. Izzo does a lot of switch. They are a deep team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I worry he just needs to let the ballers ball a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Canyon's total enrollment 101,816.
Oh.
What's like the enrollment rate there? Like
Imagine it's like
don't know.
5% or something, just
Liberty,
so low. and
Liberty's
they
at
just have all these people.
103,000. It's kind of
okay,
funny.
because I know Liberty's a high acceptance rate.
Yeah, they're
they're-
a religious
They
school too.
they're big. We love the academics at Liberty University. even though we
Malik
don't-
Willis territory.
Malik, we love Malik.
we love
Malik.
Yeah, UC San Diego 40. They're ahead of like all these different like Georgia and Maryland. It's kind of crazy. I want to see who the least is. Wofford has 1,000. Robert Morris is on this like the last few, which you understand, but Wofford only 1,873.
Wow.
At Wofford,
That's
really?
lower than some of these are lower than
I
Point
remember
Parks.
Pitt
Yeah.
played Wofford a couple times, like back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
in the
They just played them
CBI, I
2
think
years
they
ago
played
in
'em.
football, or during the Djokovic season.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because they didn't look that good in that game.
Yeah,
Like, they should have
didn't,
won by
yeah.
more.
You could tell they just didn't want to get hurt, and yeah.
McNeese.
They're tied with 6 right now.
Oh wow.
Well, it's
Don't
like
worry, Clemson
6
will play.
minutes.
I mean, if Clemson loses in the first round in the Final Four, I might as well just destroy my bracket.
So let's talk
at this
about
point.
each of ours, like what our kind of dark horse are, like Sweet 16, like a lower or a higher seed, I get. Or what is
Oh
the
yeah,
term? Is
so
it lower seed or higher?
my two
How does it
big
even-
teams or lower seed teams I have making it to the Sweet 16 are McNeese
Yeah.
and Grand Canyon. So if that turns out to be true, but I only have them going to the Sweet 16. Like I don't have any one further than that.
Yeah.
And then who was I have another team getting an upset. I have I have UC San Diego winning a game. I do have them beating Michigan. I have Wisconsin, I think, going to the Elite Eight. I think they won today. Let me just look up my bracket.
Yeah.
I have a couple
Yeah,
teams
Wisconsin won.
that are like
Purdue
ball
won.
cards, but
I almost took High Point, and then I learned that
Zach
they don't
Austin.
have a defense.
yeah.
What about Zach Austin?
He used to go to High Point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he transferred from High Point to Pitt.
That's crazy.
So who do I? Oh, it updated this. Yeah, so I have for my upsets I have Lipscomb. I think because Iowa State's arguably his best player
I have
is
them
out.
losing to
Yeah.
Carolina in the second round.
Iowa State or Lipscomb. You have Lipscomb getting upset too.
No.
Iowa
I have
State.
them Iowa State winning and then Iowa State losing to
Okay.
Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, Iowa
next
State's
round.
vulnerable because they're arguably their best players out.
Yeah, and
Deshaun Gilbert.
I have them in the Elite Eight though.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, you never know, but I think they. could
Other
pull
than
through
that,
maybe.
I don't really. Let's see what I got here. Very chalk. I have Xavier beating Illinois, which is kind of an upset, I guess. I don't know.
It is. It is.
Because Illinois, but Illinois
I read is like inconsistent.
Illinois is either gonna win like go to the Elite Eight, or they're gonna lose in the first round. I
Yeah.
feel like. I had Vanderbilt beating St. Mary's, but that's a trend. So St. Mary's always lose in the first
I
round.
have St. Mary's. I have St. Mary's beating Alabama going to the Sweet 16.
I did see that. Yeah, I did see you.
Wow.
Oh, you
Did that.
looked
That'd
at
be
my
crazy.
bracket
Well,
already.
you told me.
Oh, did I
or
say
you,
that?
you told us.
Did
yeah.
you say that? I wasn't even listening. But I got Yeah, that's interesting. That would be a
easy
shocker.
upset. It's actually Colorado State as a 12 seed is favored against Memphis.
I have them
Memphis
winning
is
that
having
game.
injury issues.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's
But I
on
stuck
Colorado
with
State.
Memphis because everyone's like
Yeah,
Colorado State.
that's a
won
worried
that
one
game.
for me. But
I
Colorado
have
State.
Drake.
I
over
have
Missouri.
Drake in the Sweet 16.
A lot
yeah.
of people. I just said screw it. I have San Diego and Yale winning. UC San Diego. That line because Michigan at some point like it's gonna run out.
Right.
Now San Diego doesn't have good. They don't have like really big men, and Michigan is very big man. They got two
Yeah.
really good big men. Yale could just really score, and I just think Texas A&M probably wins. But I was like, I'm not gonna second guess myself. I should have did that with Creighton. I second guessed myself, and I
have A&M in the Elite Eight. I think. Yeah, I have
Wow.
them in the Elite
I
Eight.
think the lowest team I have in the Elite Eight is
and then
might be Clemson.
I have Robert Morris winning it all this year.
Yeah,
Okay, so my Elite Eight, I think A&M is my
Clemson
lowest.
and Michigan are they're my lowest Elite Eight.
Yeah.
Why it doesn't let me see it now because it's like updating. Oh no, yeah, it does. Who do I have? Let's see. I got a lot of chalk on here. I got to be honest. I have a lot of.
You know what would be so fun if you just had the power to like know every single pick or every single winner for March Madness before it happens, and you could just flex. You had the only perfect bracket ever, just for like one season.
Oh my gosh, the guilt would be.
Imagine
like
I could just pull some
if it was
random
just one
analytics.
season,
Yeah.
if it was just one season, I would wager everything I have.
Yeah.
And I would just get rich, baby.
But you can't make it known because if you make it known, butterfly effect.
oh, but
Some people might
if I
lose.
bet everything I had, then people were like, "What is it? Who's this
Exactly.
random guy?"
Exactly. Like and then
bet all his money on me.
like college basketball players are going to pretend that they don't pay attention to stuff, but they do. And then they may look at that, be nervous that you're picked to win if this is a well-known thing.
Well, if you get a
might
perfect
lose.
bracket too, like you get on everybody gets
Yeah.
you on your shows and
Yes.
everything.
Yeah. I think
you're
it would
the
just
guy,
be a
you're
cool
the talk
flex.
of the
Exactly.
this country.
And like
Nathan.
and then imagine like one of us did our prediction on this channel. Like what if we did this prediction on this podcast, like just pulling analytics that aren't even true, but us just like being so scientifically like this is gonna happen because this, and then it happens.
Oh wow!
and
But
it's just,
then the next year, so you only get it for 1 year. The next year, everybody has you on. They're like, "Who's gonna win?" You're like, "It's the worst possible."
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
you're just
I
like,
would
just like
be
everybody else.
Yeah, I would just say, my power may have run out or something like that. Just be very dramatic about
I've
it.
lost the
or
magic.
just say I'm not gonna do March Madness anymore or something. Like because I can't
Going
get
out on a
anything
high
better than
note.
that.
You just gotta
exactly.
go out on a high note.
Just retire when you're at your peak. So
All right, so
McNeese 10-6 over Clemson.
oh no.
It's way too early. But dude, that's gonna be a low because there's
Yeah.
less than 11, 12 minutes and it's only 10-6, so
Yeah.
no points are being scored.
I looked at some. I'm already 306th in one of these. I'm off to a great start.
Well, I want to see this. I probably got some wrong on the sideline.
My rank is 7.9 million. I'm ranked so far, so we're off to a great start here.
Yeah. My bracket's perfect so far on sidelines.
Does
so.
anyone have Gonzaga? I have Georgia. I was gonna have Gonzaga. I think
Georgia.
Gonzaga, their luck's got to run out. Everyone's
Yeah.
saying how good they
Wow,
are.
wouldn't that be something if Gonzaga lost to Georgia? I've looked this year and I'm like, I don't know. What
I have
they
Georgia going kind of far. I have them going
Wow.
to Sweet 16.
Oh
yeah.
wow, okay.
So I don't know.
I changed my pick late last night to go with Georgia, and I changed Baylor because a lot of people are on Baylor. So I was like, I'm gonna change to Mississippi
I
State
saw something
and then
that was-
because I don't want Houston to face Gonzaga, so I just picked Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot
That would
of
be cool.
there was this guy who's like I went back and forth like a million times on the Mississippi State Baylor, and I kind of did too a little bit because that one's really a toss up. I feel like
Yeah.
Baylor's really underperformed this year. I feel like because they got the Omir from Miami.
He's going to be a top 5 pick.
They got
or,
the,
Edgecombe, I mean.
They got Edgecombe, the
Yeah.
guard. They have like really good players, and they have the guy from Duke that transferred that was a senior guard.
Wow.
I think that was I may have been 2 years a year ago, but they just really disappointed this year. They almost missed it. But they got a couple wins at the end that kind of secured it for them. But
Yeah. Wow. I forgot about the Syracuse guy. 'Cause I remember him obviously, but yeah, that's actually crazy. They underperformed a little.
yeah, Baylor's usually. I remember I wish Baylor went back. My like early college basketball memories are Baylor in the neon uniforms.
Yeah.
And I remember I can't remember his name. Where did Montrezl Harrell go? He didn't go to Baylor. No, it was the one guy who like looked like Montrezl Harrell, and I remember he was like a
I don't
legend.
even know who that is.
Oh, was it whenever he talked about the rebound thing?
I don't know who it was.
That was
but
Taurean Prince, I think.
No, not Taurean Prince. It was a big man, and he played with the.
All I know
He
is,
played in the NBA a little bit.
Baylor. I don't remember.
all I know is the 1 year Baylor won the Natty. I had them winning the Natty.
That was-
like
they
my
beat
one
Gonzaga.
bracket moment.
That was a
They beat
good.
Gonzaga,
yeah.
yeah.
Was that
Gonzaga
the,
must have
They were a
perfect
1
season.
seed
Was
that
that the
year.
COVID year?
Both of them were, yeah.
Was it like
It was
the,
a couple of years
the
It
ago.
was the
restriction
COVID year.
year?
It was the COVID
Was
year.
it?
It was
Well,
March
not-
Madness 2021.
Yeah.
And Gonzaga had a perfect season, but then lost to Baylor.
Because
in
it was
championship.
Gonzaga UCLA when Suggs hit that game
Gonzaga's
winner.
got to
Yeah.
win a championship with Mark Few, but
Yeah.
it doesn't look like it's going to be this year. But you never know.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean,
No, they're losing
UConn
to
won as
Georgia
a
the first round. They're definitely losing to Georgia.
UConn won as a 4 or 5 seed a couple years ago. So
Right.
You never know.
You never know for sure. That's why I'm thinking Maryland could be that team
Yeah.
as a 4 seed. The Big Ten has really underperformed in the tournament like every
yeah.
year.
Yeah.
I
mean,
have 2
they're-
of them in the Final Four. I don't have any SEC, so people are gonna. That was not intentional. I just like did it. I got mad respect for the SEC this year. They were by far and away the best conference.
Absolutely.
I didn't have any of them in the Final
Are they
Four.
overhyped? Do you think the SEC is
No.
overhyped?
No.
No, I don't think
I
it
mean,
is.
I thought the Big 12 was overhyped whenever Pitt made it because I remember West Virginia, one of the players was like, oh, we will have won the ACC.
Did we beat Iowa State? Was it Iowa State we beat?
Yeah.
And we beat them
Yeah.
pretty good.
And
too.
West
59 to 41.
And there was a player for West Virginia that was like, "Oh, we would have won the ACC if we were in their conference."
Yeah.
And they lose in the first round. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, like you can't say that and then proceed to lose in the first round.
Right.
The Big 12 wasn't all anything special. So,
I remember. Yeah, that was. I can't remember who that was.
yeah,
That was the year where Penn State made it too, and then they won a game also. And
That's
they
right.
lost to Texas.
they
in the
beat
second
Texas
round.
A&M. Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember because I had Purdue winning it all against Texas A&M in the finals, and both of them lost in the first round.
that was
Purdue,
just.
massive upset.
Yeah, that was a crazy. That was the FDU game. Was that the FDU year or was that?
It had to have been, yeah. It was the year where San Diego State hit the game winner against FAU to lose to UConn. In the
that was such a
championship.
weird year.
Yeah.
Like that really was 2 years ago.
Yeah, Pitt making it. I mean, that
Yeah,
I
that was
love that
weird.
season,
Pitt
yeah.
making the tournament. That's a
Yeah.
weird.
That lately
result.
it's weird.
I know it is.
Pitt needs to come on. Like we need to. This
Yeah.
is. We're supposed to be a basketball.
I saw a
school.
random.
Yeah, we are.
I saw a random Pitt fan saying sources are saying big changes to the coaching staff and to the roster.
I do want to make a shout out to the women's team. They grabbed a 5-star recruit.
yes.
That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Who's the coach? Who's the Pitt women's coach?
He
Tory
was
Birdie.
the coach for I think UMass,
Yeah.
and he turned their program around big time. So he
That was
came to
so
Pitt.
random.
That
That
is
was the most
random.
random thing I ever seen. It was just
Yeah.
out of nowhere breaking.
Yeah.
Pitt got a 5-star.
And she was with like Auburn or
I thought
something.
it was
and then
volley.
she
No, when I
decommitted.
saw it, I thought it was volleyball. Like I honestly, I didn't. I just saw like
It-
Pitt got a 5-star. And it was when I was like, oh, volleyball.
No, it
wow.
was, that was the women's
But it was,
basketball.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
women's basketball. It was the guy. It was the. She committed to Auburn. I actually
Yeah.
seen that like a little while ago. I was like somebody decommitted from Auburn to 5-star. I was like, oh, that's the only like woman's recruit
Yeah.
I've ever. And then she went to Pitt.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean,
How did-
it's where like Pitt women's basketball, they'll always have one girl that scores a bunch of
20
points per
points
game,
a
then
game.
no one else scores 10 points
I've
a
never
game.
watched
it's like-
one Pitt
I don't
women's
either.
game in my life.
I haven't either. I just looked
I
up
hope
the
that
stats.
changes
Yeah.
someday.
Well, the one girl I think is going to the draft. The girl they got
Khadijah
brought from
Faye
Texas.
is going
Yeah.
to the. Yeah, they bring these. It was funny. What's her name? She's at Notre Dame now.
Oh yeah,
Leah
she was real
King.
good. Yeah.
She's
yeah.
like their 5th option, and she was like our best, and she averaged like
Yeah.
18 points a game.
Yeah, and probably like 10 rebounds if I had to guess. Like
The
they all
women's
have
one will
to-
be interesting too because there's like not a clear like favorite. Usually it's like South Carolina. It
Yeah.
used to be
South
UConn.
Carolina's number
Yeah,
one again,
UConn
though, right?
is, yeah.
Aren't they
Yeah,
the one
but they've
seed?
lost a couple. I
Yeah.
think they're still the favorite, but UConn is playing really
They got,
well right
what's
now.
her name's? She's like the star now. Paige Booker or Buckers,
That's,
whatever
yeah,
her name
UConn.
is.
Yeah, for you.
USC has a popular player too, right?
Juju somebody.
Juju
right?
Watkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's and I still like I think Notre Dame they were number 1 for a while and then they lost like 3 in a row or 3 or 4 or something and now they're a
Yeah.
3 seed. They could give people trouble or something, but I was like, oh yeah, the women's one. It's like a day. They should do it like a day before. They should like take advantage of that extra day
Yeah.
to get some viewership. But they do it like the day after when like nobody's They started right after the men's one, so
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Princeton, Iowa State, and I was like, I don't remember these teams. But oh, it's the women's one.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yep.
anyway, anything else we want to?
I don't think so.
I'm ready to go watch some games. Are you ready to go watch
I'm
some
ready
games?
I'm ready to crash out over a team that I
Yeah.
second guess myself again,
Yeah.
picking, winning, going to the Final Four or something. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun thing. We love it.
All right. Well, that is all for We Are Family episode number 28. Thank you guys as always for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.